here's how you work out where to cut. If you grab a little measure with the insole removed, poke that right down into the insole, make a little line on there, put that there, then you know whereabouts the insole board is. Then if you allow another 5 or 6 mil for the thickness of the insole board, make a line, that's your safe to cut there. So that's the highest you can possibly cut. Any higher than that you'll cut into the inside of the boot. Then as far as where the lowest point is you can cut, obviously if we cut here you're going to cut all those chunks off and that's not going to work. Plus we need to be able to come through this heel block and then meet up with the sole. So there's our highest point that we can cut, and the lowest point, if we came below there, we're going to end up cutting into the outsole there, but we also need to allow for any tread that's here. So it pretty much gives us a window from that's the lowest and that's the highest, somewhere in amongst there we can cut. And then have a look at the front sole as well, see if it's anything weird. The temptation is to cut on an indentation, but that makes it really easy to cut, but it makes it really hard later on when you're trying to trim it up. So you're much better to cut it where it bulges out. Makes it slightly harder to cut, but far easier to trim off later. Get your knife and start at the back here and just start cutting. Once you're through a bit, just start pulling up on the heel, and then as you go along, just have a look at this side and see we're right on the line, and then have a look at the other side and make sure we're still right on the line. Once you've got through the heel block, which is a real tricky bit, it should get much easier. But just keep going and just keep checking every 10 or 15 mil that you're still on the line. Otherwise it will not go smoothly. And that's how you cut it open. Once it's cut open, we'll jump on the grinder and grind the sole on the boot. Then we can put our first 10mm EVA on to the boot. Then we'll grind that into a wedge like a Cumps resole. Then we'll put the 20mm EVA on top of that, grind that all up so it looks nice, and then put the sole onto that and trim around the edges. So we'll show you it again soon. So here's the finished boot. We cut through here after measuring down in here and working out how far down the insole board was going to be, and making sure we didn't cut too low so we didn't cut through the treads. Then once we'd cut right through, we ground the boot sole so it's nice and flat. Then we put a piece of 10mm EVA through here. Then we ground it to a wedge. Then we put a piece of 20mm EVA the entire way through. Then we ground that down so that this was the required amount. And so this was the same required amount. Then we trimmed right the way around it, gave it a coat of paint and polish, and it was all done.